What is up, guys? Player One here, and today I'm going to be making my Michigan football 2021 predictions. I'm going to be going game by game, and I'm not really going to go in depth about the team itself, about the offense and the defense. I think um, most people know how Michigan was last year. Now, I will say, I think Michigan will be better this year than they were last year. No, I wasn't saying that last year. Last year, I was saying it would be a down year for Michigan in terms of going from 2019 to 2020. 2019, we had a pretty decent year, 9 wins, and I said 2020 would be probably a down year, or we would probably win about the same amount. Boy, was I wrong. I mean, the schedule was taken down to only a 6-game schedule, and Michigan only played, or no, it was a 8-game schedule, I believe. And Michigan only played 6 of those, losing 4. So we finished 2-4, one of the worst teams in the country last year. Should do a lot better this year, or maybe not a lot better, but better for sure. So let's go over their schedule and where I think Michigan's going to land in 2021. Now, the first game we have here is against Western Michigan. The Western Michigan Broncos at home for Michigan at noon on Saturday, September 4th. Michigan is currently 7-0 against Western Michigan. This is going to be the 8th meeting between the two teams. And, as I said, Michigan currently has a 7-0 record against Western Michigan. They have never beaten us, and I don't think any of them have been close. I don't see that being the case again this year. This isn't Western Michigan from, 2016 when they won all their games. I think it was 2016. It's not going to be one of those years for Western Michigan. This should be a win for Michigan, and probably a pretty dominant win if I have to guess. Second game on the schedule, Michigan is again at home against Washington. Now this game will be a much tougher game. Washington does return a bulk of their team. The last time we ever played Washington, I believe, was 2002, and we barely squeaked out a win against them. Or it was either 02 or 05. I'm not too sure. I can't remember for exact, but we barely squeaked out a win against them. Now they're actually one of those teams that has a winning record against us. They're 4-3 against Michigan. Not a lot of teams can say they have a winning record against Michigan. Not even Ohio State does yet. Like all-time record. But Washington. Washington. It'll be a tough game. I think if I have to say for certain, I'm going to say Michigan is going to pull out this win just barely. I think this comes down to location. Ultimately, I think this comes down to who's got home field advantage. It's going to be the first big game at home for Michigan. That Western Michigan game's not really going to be like a huge game or anything. It'll be the season opener, but it's not going to be the first like big time game that's going to be like in prime time. This is going to be huge home field advantage for Michigan. That stadium's going to be packed, even though Michigan didn't have a good year last year. That stadium is going to be packed. I'm going to give Michigan the win here in an exciting game. Hopefully an exciting game. It is prime time, of course. So at this point, I have Michigan at 2-0. The next game is against the Northern Illinois Huskies, again at home at noon. And Michigan is currently 2-0 against NIU. We've never, it's been a while since we've played them. I think this is the game where it's been since 2002 since we've played them. NIU is not going to be Washington. They're not going to be as good as Washington. So I'm going to go with a win here for Michigan. And 3-0. 3-0. After that, we have our first Big Ten conference game against Rutgers. We're starting it out It's pretty much as easy as you can get for a conference game. I'm not saying this game is going to be easy. I'm just saying it's not going to be like last year. Last year when we played Rutgers, it went into 3 overtimes. Was it 3 overtimes? Yeah, 3 overtimes. One in in crazy fashion. We were down 17-0 at one point in Piscataway, and I just don't think it's going to be like that again this year. Michigan's going to be too good, and Rutgers, though I think they are slowly, inching towards improvement in their future, I still don't think that they're there yet. So I'm going to go with the win here for Michigan. And that means Michigan is currently 4-0. Then Michigan has their first road game of the season. You know how this goes for Michigan. They have a road game where they have their road game against a hard opponent. The time isn't on here yet. This could very well be, though I doubt it, could very well be a primetime game. I think this is ultimately going to be a win for Wisconsin. Jim Harbaugh is actually now having a losing record against Wisconsin, which sucks. But I'm not really surprised. Last year when we faced them, we lost 49-11 at home. Embarrassing. I mean, there was no one there to witness it, no fans at all, but completely embarrassing. And I don't know. I don't think it's going to be as embarrassing this year. It could be. Probably not, though. I don't think Michigan's going to be ultimately embarrassed. I still think Wisconsin's going to win by a decent amount of points, though. I'm going to say Michigan loses here, gets their first loss of the season, 4-1, and it's also their first, not only their first loss of the season, but their first road game is also a loss. Next game against Nebraska, also at Nebraska. Now, last time we played Nebraska was in 2018. We won 56-10. By the way, I didn't look these up. I just remembered that. I don't know how, but we played them 56-10. We were up 39-0 at halftime in that game. I don't think it's going to be like that. I don't think it's going to be like that this year against Nebraska. I think Nebraska's going to be a better team than they were in 2018, obviously. And Michigan's going to be a worse team than what they were in 2018. So I don't think it's going to be a 56-10, a 46-point shellacking, of a win. It's still going to be a Michigan win ultimately, but I don't think that it's going to be as dominating as it was a few years back. So I'm going to go with a Michigan win here and 5-1 on the season going into their first bye week. So, Michigan is, doing well at this point. 5-1 going into the bye week. They don't have a whole lot to brag about. They don't have a major win yet. You could probably count the Washington game as a major win if you'd like. I'm not sure how major of a win that would be. We're just going to have to see where Washington is. But let's see where I think Michigan will be after the bye week. So, Northwestern at home, going back home after the bye week. Northwestern, when was the last time we played them? 2018 was the last time we played them. We won 20-17. I remember that game very well. I was with my friend Steeler Dude 11 watching that game. We didn't get to watch the whole game. We were doing something else before that. And then we came back and we were down 17-0 when we started watching. Came back in the second half and won that game, and it was crazy. It came down to the wire. It was a great game for Michigan and just a great one of the best games of the year, I would say, in terms of entertaining for that Michigan game. Stressful as frick, but was a very entertaining game for if a person was just watching and wasn't a fan of either team. I don't know how close that this game is going to be. I do think that this is going to be a win for Michigan. And just like that, Michigan is 6-1, and they are also bowl eligible. Now, of course, I'm giving Michigan a lot of credit here. I'm saying that they're going to win a lot of these games. 6-1 already in October and already bowl eligible, and I'm giving them a lot of credit. And they very well could be 4-2 at this point, or maybe even worse. Who knows? I don't see them being any worse, but I could see them losing that game and against Washington, and maybe losing that game against Northwestern or Nebraska or something. But it could be a trap game, something like that. But I don't see it happening. I have Michigan winning here against Northwestern, and maybe it'll be close, maybe it won't. I have no clue where Northwestern is going to be, or really where Michigan is, because Michigan has a lot of questions going into the season, seeing how they're going to be. On October 30th, Michigan goes at Michigan State. Now, last year, after the way we played against Minnesota, and then the way Michigan State played and lost their first game of the season, I believe it was against Rutgers, everyone was thinking, well, Michigan's going to destroy Michigan State. Michigan's so much better than Michigan State. And then what happened during that day? Michigan State went in, beat Michigan at Michigan in Ann Arbor. And that seems to be kind of a theme. They trade wins at their own stadium. If you think about it, in 2020, it was at Michigan, but Michigan State won. In 2019, it was at Michigan State, and Michigan won. In 2018, it was at Michigan State. Was it at Michigan State? I believe it was. And Michigan won. Or no, it was at Michigan that year. That's right. And we did win that game. So we don't trade wins every year. But 2017, if you count that game, that was a win for Michigan State. So Michigan and Michigan State trade a lot of wins. I think that this game personally is going to be a little closer than we think. I think it's ultimately going to come down to, people are going to think Michigan's the better team, and they're probably going to be like, oh, Michigan's going to win by 10 wins, 10 points or whatever. And then it's going to come down to like literally the last play of the game when Michigan pulls out the win. Now that's what I'm going with. At this point now, going into November, Michigan is 7-1. They're in a pretty good place. But then Indiana happens. Now, I know Michigan lost to Indiana last year. It was the first time Indiana beat Michigan in 25 years, 1988 or 89 or whatever was the last time they beat us. And it's been even, that was at Indiana, and it's been even longer since they've beaten us at home. I see them beating us at home. Indiana is very talented, and they just seem like they're getting better and better. And I honestly don't think Michigan can keep up with them this year. I think at some point Michigan will take over the series again and start pretty much beating Indiana every year again. But I see Indiana getting another win over us before that starts happening. I don't know about 2022. I see Michigan being better in 2022 than they are in 2021. Honest to God. But I see Indiana beating us, getting one more win over us before we beat them again in 2022. I'm already giving my 2022 predictions against Indiana because we play them pretty much every year. Loss for Michigan here. and it's going to be close. It's going to be close, but Indiana's going to pull it out, and I don't know, maybe it'll be considered an upset. So at this point, where do I have Michigan? Win, loss. So 3-1, 4-1, 5-1, 6-1. 1, 2, 3, 3-1, 4-1, 5-1, 6-1. 6-2. 8, 9. Wait, what am I looking at? Hold on a second. Oh, I forgot the Western Michigan game. So 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, 4-0, 4-1, 5-1, 6-1, 7-1, 7-2. Okay, so they're 7-2 at this point. That's where I have them. 7-2 going into this Penn State game. Now, November 13th against Penn State. I think this is Michigan's first real loss. Like, not a real loss, but like a game where they're going to lose by a significant margin. I'm not saying Michigan's going to get blown out by 40 points or anything. I don't think it's going to be like 2017. It's nothing like that. I just don't think Michigan's as talented as Penn State. This is at Penn State, and you know how it is. This is likely going to be the whiteout game. Michigan never wins the whiteout game. If they ever win the whiteout game in the near future, I would be absolutely shocked. It would be amazing if we beat them in whiteout. I'm sure. The time isn't set yet for this game, but I am positive we are going to lose this game, and because I'm positive it's going to be a whiteout in prime time. I think they do this to us every year. Penn State chooses Michigan as their prime time opponent, that whiteout game. It's either us or Ohio State, or both. So it just depends if they play us, play both teams at home or not. Loss here, for sure. Loss. So that would mean at this point Michigan is 7-3. Another game here on the road for Michigan at Maryland. We don't really ever lose to Maryland. I don't think we've ever lost to Maryland, to be honest with you. I'm trying to think back since they joined the Big Ten. Have we lost to Maryland? I don't believe so. If maybe once, but I don't remember what year that would be. But yeah, this is going to be a win for Michigan. I mean, even going into that, even when Michigan was supposed to play Maryland last year, I thought we were going to beat them, and that was in 2020. I think we're definitely going to beat them this year. Last year it was kind of just like, yeah, I'm semi-positive we'll beat them. But this year it's like, yeah, definitely. We're going to beat them this year. That'll give us our eighth win of the season. So we're 8-3 at this point. Finally, the game, as they call it. I don't really consider it the game because we lose every year, so it's not really a rivalry anymore. It doesn't feel like one. It's just that time of the year when everyone gets to laugh at Michigan. At this point, I'm considering just laughing at Michigan because of how inept they are against Ohio State. Same old song and dance. Ever since I started this channel, Michigan has never beaten Ohio State. In fact, if you would have told me that the last time, if the last time Michigan beat Ohio State, I was in third grade. And if you would have told third grade me that you're not going to beat them again until after you graduate high school, I would have probably thought you were nuts. Say there's no way. We're going to beat them at least a couple of times before I graduate, right? No, I'm graduated. I'm 19 years old now. I'm going to be 20 in December. By God, we probably will not beat. They will probably won't beat Michigan until I'm in my freaking late 20s. Who knows? And I said this last year, and I said it the year before. I started saying this in 2019. Till Michigan can prove that they can beat a team like Ohio State, or that they can beat Ohio State, they're going to have to prove me wrong first. until they prove me wrong, I'm never going to predict Michigan to beat Ohio State ever again. I fell for it a couple years ago when I did my 2018, or a few years ago, when I did my 2018 predictions at the beginning of the season. I was 11-0 on my predictions going into that Ohio State game. And on last week, I changed my predictions for that game to Michigan winning. And they disappointed me, and I was wrong on one of the games that year. I finished 11-1 because I decided to change my original prediction to Michigan beating Ohio State. And it was really hard for me to change it, but I ended up doing it because I really thought Michigan had a chance. What happened? We lost 62-39, and it made me sad and depressed. And now every time, this time during, that time during the year, that last Saturday in November when the Michigan-Ohio State game is nearing, right after, pretty much usually happens like the Saturday after Thanksgiving. Me and my family, or really just me and my grandpa or anyone else who I know who's a hardcore Michigan fan, are dreading this game, and for good reason, because we lose every year by a significant amount. And I don't see this being any different. Yes, Ohio State loses Justin Fields, but you know how Ohio State is. And if you watched any of their spring practice, you can tell that these quarterbacks are elite level, or they're going to be elite level. I just don't have any reason to think that Ohio State's gonna lose to Michigan. It would take a freaking miracle for Michigan to win this game, unless we're all being fooled and Michigan's a lot better than we think and Ohio State's a lot worse than we think, which is just not true. Ohio State is probably, again, going to be one of the best teams in the country. They're going to be an 11-12 win team, maybe. I don't really see them losing any games, at least in Big Ten play. Maybe one. Maybe they lose. Maybe they slip up on one. They usually do, but I don't know. It's definitely not going to be the Michigan game, and that's how I have Michigan finishing the season 8-4, with losses to Wisconsin, a loss to Indiana, Penn State, and Ohio State. So 2 of those games are going to be, let's see here. 1, 2. Okay, yeah, 2 of those games on the road, one with Wisconsin and Penn State, and 2 at home, the Indiana and Ohio State game. And I have Michigan finishing the season 8-4, not making a Big Ten championship game, finishing probably 3rd or 4th in the Big Ten East. And the Big Ten championship game is likely going to be Michigan. Hell no. Either Ohio State and Wisconsin, or Ohio State and... Yeah, it's probably going to be at Ohio State and Wisconsin. I'm just being honest with you. So, yeah, that's my predictions. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, what you think Michigan's going to finish with. I think this is a pretty fair prediction for Michigan, 8-4. They could finish with 7. I think 8 wins is pretty generous, and I'm a Michigan fan, so I like to be generous to my team and assume that they can win these games, but you never know. They could lose 2 more of these. They could finish with 6 wins. I don't see them losing any more than, but to be honest with you, I really don't see them losing any more than, I really don't see them winning any less than 6 or 5 or 7 even. At the very worst, they probably finish 7-5. And you know what? That's probably what's going to happen, and then Jim Harbaugh will be fired, and we'll all be happy, hopefully. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Again, let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you guys next time.